Good morning, BookTube. This is Kelly, and my channel is Books I'm Not Reading. And I'm so happy it's Saturday, and I get to be, the weather's finally cool enough. I can be outside, which is so nice. So I thought I'd do the coffee book tag. This was originally done by Bangity Bangs. I don't think he's been active for a while. I'm not sure exactly, but I've seen a lot of people do this tag, and I think it's fun. Unfortunately, I don't have copies of a lot of the books that I'm going to be talking about, but I hope that you'll forgive and understand. So anyway, so let's get to it. Oh, and I do want to say, I have a special treat for you at the end of this video, if you're willing to wait. My other clematis is blooming, purple flowers everywhere, and it's just beautiful. So I will add some footage of it to the end of this video if you can make it through to the end. Or I guess you could just fast forward. So here we go. Okay, question number 1, black. Name a series that's tough to get into but has hardcore fans. I actually question the possibility of this. To me, if you're going to write a series and the first book isn't good enough, then there won't be a second book, or sales of each book will, decline over time. I get really frustrated when I read a book and I love the first book in the series, but then with each succeeding book, each following book, it just doesn't work. My one example of this is Cinder by Marissa Meyer, and I loved Cinder. I thought it was so creative and original, and oh man, it was fantastic. And so I kept reading, and I kept hoping like it would get better, but with each book I don't know, I found myself caring less and less about the characters. So anyway, so I'm not sure if that's, and I obviously that series has hardcore fans and people who love it, but just for me, Peppermint Mocha. Name a book that gets more popular during the winter or a festive time of year. I actually love reading books by the season. Put my coffee down here. I love looking at a book and going, oh no, I'm gonna hold this off, wait till the winter. I always have books that every summer I say I'm gonna read The Power of One. I still haven't read it. It seems like such a summer book though. So anyway, so the book that I chose for this is Smilla's Sense of Snow by Peter Hoeg. I apologize to anyone from Denmark who's watching if I mispronounced his last name. Please feel free to correct me down below. But if you have not read this, it's a really great mystery. And I actually have heard some people say that Smilla is really the first Lisbeth Salander. And she is such a fantastic character. This is a mystery thriller like none you've ever read. So I highly recommend it. Let's see. Hot chocolate. What is your favorite children's book? Excuse me. I love kids' books. I spent a lot of time in the children's section at Barnes & Noble when I worked there. So I've read a lot of picture books. I've read a lot of early reader books, that sort of thing. This is a book that I actually didn't come to until as an adult. And it's called The Storytelling Princess by Rafe Martin. And it's illustrated by Kimberly Buckley-Root. And this is absolutely a delightful read. The illustrations are just phenomenal. It's books and cats, and the costumes relate to things, and there's all sorts of stuff in the pictures that is just fantastic. I mean, I love it. I absolutely love it. So I have slowly over time given away many of my children's books to my friends who have have children. But that one is for me, and I'm definitely holding on to it. So, double shot of espresso. Name a book that kept you on the edge of your seat from start to finish. And I know I just mentioned this, but The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo, Stieg Larsson. And I remember I was reading this when Jason and I lived in Montana, and he had gone over to print something out at one of our friends' house, and I was so scared while I was reading a certain part of this book that I called him and I was just like, you need to come home now. Like, I felt like I needed protection against the bad guys in this book. So anyway, of course, I'm sure many of you have read this and have your own posts and thoughts about it, but I really, really enjoyed this book. I think it's the best of the three, and I am not a fan of the sort of sequels that are by other people. I've tried one and I didn't enjoy it. So I'm just gonna stick to those three for that. So, Starbucks. Name a book you see everywhere. Unfortunately, I live in a community that I hate to say it doesn't value books and reading, but it's just not something that people talk about a lot. There's not literary festivals or big author signings. There's not a big bookstore. So there isn't a lot of just kind of sort of community book talk. So there isn't really the opportunity for me to be like, oh, I see everyone. I don't live in a city with tons of public transportation, so it's not like I see, everyone on the subway or everyone on the bus is reading da-da-da-da-da. Like, that's just not the place that I live. I tried to think back to the last book at the bookstore when we worked there, which again, that was 8 years ago. So I just remember the help and how, that was really just such a word of mouth kind of phenomenon. I still haven't read it. Maybe the only one left, but I haven't read it. And, but I do just remember it was just crazy how that book kind of caught fire and spread. So, okay, number 6, that hipster coffee shop. Give a book by an indie author a shout out. So apparently I don't read very many indie authors. I went through my book journal and looked and looked and looked, and I asked Jason, like, oh, could I say this book? And he's like, that is published by a major press. So I would love it if you have an indie author that you love, or something that's published by a smaller press that I may not have come across. So please list that in the comments below. Like, you give a shout out to an indie author. That would be fantastic. I would love to see what you guys have to say. Number 7. Oops, I accidentally got decaf. Name a book that you were expecting more from. Again, I don't have a copy of this book because I checked it out from the library. But the last book that this was really true of was A Boy in Winter by Rachel Seifert. It is about the Holocaust. I know I've seen some people do some buddy reads and stuff related to this book. It's a slim little novel, and I was initially worried because I'm like, this is about the Holocaust. Like, how can this book be so thin and sparse? And I felt like there was great potential in that book, but it did not deliver. I did not enjoy it, and I would not recommend it. There's way too many other great books that deal with that serious subject that should be read. So, and finally, 8, the perfect blend. Name a book or series that was both bitter and sweet, but ultimately satisfying. So for this, I spent a lot of time looking through my book journal trying to think of what really sums up a book that's both sweet and bitter. And so I have a nonfiction choice for you. This is the prize winner of Defiance, Ohio, How My Mother Raised 10 Kids on 25 Words or Less by Terry Ryan. It was also there's a film adaptation of this. I believe Julianne Moore is in it. And it's a charming book, but definitely their family has struggles and troubles. There are painful moments in the book for sure, when you really sympathize with the author as well as especially the mom in it. And I actually gave this book to my mom for Mother's Day. I'm pretty sure she still hasn't read it. So what can you do, right? But anyways, so I saw it on her shelf recently. So it was bitter because, their family just struggled so much. But her mother was very courageous and creative, and I just thought it was really a really great piece of narrative nonfiction. It really feels a lot like a novel at times. So I'm not going to tag anyone. This tag has been around for a while, so if you haven't done it and you're watching, please do the coffee book tag. And I want to say thank you so much for all of you who are watching, and I hope you have a great day. Have a cup of coffee. That always makes things a little bit better for me. Always something I look forward to in the morning, and especially this morning because it's nice outside, and so maybe I'll come out here and do some reading today. So anyway, thanks so much, BookTube, and I'll talk to you soon. So here's the other clematis with these beautiful flowers, and it's just covered. I mean, it just looks like something's been munching on it there, but we did have a hailstorm this week, but I just think it's, just a really spectacular, beautiful plant. I'm excited to show you more pictures from my yard next year. I didn't start this channel until after all the Easter lilies were gone. So thanks so much for watching, and welcome to all of you who are new subscribers to my channel. I look forward to getting to know you and hearing your thoughts. Take care.